Item 2, I guess we'll turn over to you, Mr. Brent.
Thank you. If you'll turn to the memorandum in the packet, we'll start at number 4 there. At our last board meeting, the board voted to reject all the bids because they came in higher than expected and higher than the amount budgeted for the project. And so at that point, we really couldn't move forward with any direction until this meeting. And after talking it over with our staff, we felt that doing and moving on to number 5 there, we could either rebid the project, provide a cash incentive for the secondary users to do the conversion themselves. We could utilize staff to perform all or some of the conversions, or we can do a combination of options B and C above. And after talking it over with staff, we felt that doing the combination of options B and C will save the district a significant amount of money, roughly around $42,000. We figure we can get this done by doing the options B and C for about $150,000. We took a look at about how many connections we're looking at as far as the ease of installation, and based on the Forsgren study and report, we felt that there was approximately 150 easy installations, which did involve tearing up concrete for driveways, and there was roughly about 50 more difficult connections that needed to be done, and then there's 7 commercial connections, which involved Clark County, the Catholic Church, the Post Office, and the LDS Church. And as part of doing options B and C, we propose that staff will actually do all 7 of those commercial connections.
Will those be priced differently, Kevin? I mean, are they going to be the 1,000 or 500 or?
We're going to do it, so there would be no
cost.
attachments.
Yeah. It's just going to be staff and materials time to make that happen. So, assuming that we move forward and the board approves us to move forward with options B and C, then get into more of the details of how to make that happen. And as far as the incentives, we would propose, and the numbers that we're proposing were the numbers that the Forsgren study indicated would be the cost per connection for the easy ones, which is $500 per connection, and $1,000 for the more difficult connections. And we would provide a drawing that kind of shows the homeowner how to make those connections, and we would spec out what the backflow prevention device would be. So they'd be responsible for buying all the materials, the backflow prevention device, and then installing that, and then our staff would inspect that. In talking over also with staff on how to make sure that this all happens, and that the homeowner just didn't take the money and then not do any connection. The idea that we have is to give the homeowners half of the money up front, so they can go buy the materials and at least make that commitment to making that happen. And then once the installation is done and they have a signed off inspection from district staff saying that they've completed it to our satisfaction, then they can bring that back into the district and get reimbursed for the second half of the funds.
We just give them credit.
Are we gonna have a safeguard in place for that? Let's say they take half the money, they don't do the installation. Are we gonna have them sign something saying that by such and such time they'll have it all done? And if not, if we have to go in and do it, then that'll be added to their water bill, something along those lines?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Because there's always gonna be somebody that,
Takes the money and runs.
or just, just puts it off.
And will we have an actual timed line that they need to be done? Because I know when we've dealt with people on some other projects, they were going to do it, we ended up going out and doing it because it wasn't done in a timely manner, so.
Yeah, and that's, our plan is to shut the main pump off at the secondary system on June 13th. We talked about it internally to have a deadline of having everything completed by May 30th, or they don't get the second half of the incentive, if they don't have it done by then. And then I think the other thing that, you know, what Rich is saying is, if they don't have it done by that May 30th thing, then that first half of the incentive that they collected on, we would have that provision that we add that onto their water bill to recoup that amount. And then it becomes a cost to them if they want to have that connection
Well,
completed.
the one thing that, if they don't connect, if they don't finish the connection, they're not gonna have any water outside. So, I mean, it's gonna be an incentive to them, or they're gonna be spending a heck of a lot more than $500 or $1,000 to replace all the stuff that they're gonna lose for not watering. So, so I don't know if we need to put that in or not. I mean, if they start the project and don't finish it, they're the ones gonna lose out. They're not gonna be able to water their outside yards without it going through the meter. So, I don't know.
And I hear what you're saying, but there's some people that probably aren't gonna care if they're allowed to get watered or not. There's also people that are maybe walking away from the house, there's still foreclosure issues going on. What happens, you know, if they take that money and end up leaving the house, we're left there holding the bag, you know?
Well, if they're leaving the house, chances are we're not gonna collect on that bill anyhow, so.
If they're leaving the valley,
Yeah.
if they move, if they
Yeah.
relocate somewhere and have a water bill. then we
I mean,
still have
it's just, I think we can do that, but
So you're saying to May 30th means it's basically got a whole year to complete this?
No,
no,
May
they
30th
got
of this
2
year.
months.
So they've got between now, till May 30th,
Yes.
and then we're shutting it down on the 13th?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Ms. Elliston?
I have a couple questions if you don't mind.
Okay.
One of your option B says to provide a cash incentive for secondary users to convert themselves. Back when you were talking about this in, I think, January, I remember somebody said that that was a bad idea to let them do it. So I'm just pointing that out. I mean, if you choose that option, that's one thing.
Don't get worried, we're talking about converting their water, not converting their water.
The second, who's going to do the concrete work?
Getting back to your, the idea that it was a bad idea, that was before we had the concept of the opt-in, opt-out letter that is going to be issued this week. And working with Eric in putting together that letter, I think we have some pretty solid backing legally for us to implement it. And so that discussion back in the January where it was a bad idea, I think we've covered the bases on that with this letter. So it's a better idea.
Well, and I don't,
Maybe not the best idea, but a better idea.
well, I think we've had time to talk to staff and come up with this, with the staff doing it, saving us, the 80-something thousand over the lowest bid. I think that's a tribute to the staff that won't even go in and do that, so.
Yeah,
I think
80,000
I think there
tends
was
to
some
change
factors we
minds.
didn't know.
Well, I got a question here.
Well, go ahead, because
Go
I have a
ahead.
couple more.
My question is once we start the bunker bill, I guess this is more to the staff, and we're moving into the time of the year when we're gonna have some breaks over here, can you guys handle both of them? Can you say, okay, we're gonna leave this job in Bunkerville and go over here because we got a break?
That's an unknown right now, Ted.
Yeah.
The issue we've got is until we get the returned opt-in, opt-out letters, we really don't know how many the staff is going to have to do. And the opt-in, opt-out letter is going to be due back to us on April 10th. So at that time, we'll have an idea of how many residents are planning on doing it themselves and how many staff are planning on doing it. And talking it over with staff, we feel that somewhere between 50 and 75% of the residents will take the cash incentive and do it themselves.
Do you think that's right?